Let's get active. Hi guys, welcome to another video. My name is Deandra. Welcome if it's your first time. If it's not, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about self-tapes. What is it and how to do it? So what is a self-tape? A self-tape is going to be a different form of auditioning. Rather than auditioning in person, you usually do this at home with just a tripod and your phone. What is the purpose of a self-tape? The purpose of the self-tape is if you can't make an in-person audition, so then you can send in this as your in-person audition, or if the audition's in another state, usually a worldwide casting call, or if they're searching for something in big cities like New York, California, Atlanta, then they'll ask you to send a self-tape. So let's get into the makeup. So first, we're gonna start with the eyes. Everything in makeup that you're gonna do for a self-tape audition is gonna be very neutral, very simplistic, very your skin but better. So my face is already moisturized and primed. Please don't forget that. So now I'm just gonna go in with a medium brown to put into my crease. Just gonna really lightly wanna go in and do that. And then I'll tell you about my first tip, and that's gonna be how you're actually gonna frame up the camera and what you should be wearing. So the frame should really be, think of it like you just got your headshot. It should literally be the same dimensions. It should be chest up, and you don't want too much space above your head, which is really easy to do with a tripod. The one I use is really cheap, really inexpensive, from Amazon. I'll put that in the description box below. You're also gonna be wanting to use a plain background. So if I was doing a self-tape right now, I wouldn't use this background since it has all the designs and patterns on it. And if you don't have a background, which this is just a piece of cloth from a fabric store, so you can easily do that and then just pin it up. But if you don't have that, you can also find a white wall in your house. So next, for the actual lid, I'm gonna use a bronze brown that's basically my skin color, but just adds a little bit of shimmer. When you're working on your lid, you can do a light wash of color with small glitter in it, but you do not want too much light refracting off the frame. That's really distracting. You don't wanna come in with like your full glam look. And trust me, like, professional makeup artists have told me this when I was on set. One time I tried to do a look for background extra and they fully wipe my makeup off and then just put on something neutral. So you don't want to waste anyone's time and you don't want to distract anybody. So just keep it very simple with the glitter. But as you can see on the lid, it looks like my skin color, just a little bit better. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about what you should actually be wearing. And then this applies for an in-person audition too. They should be complementary colors to your skin. You don't want to show up in black or white. You want to show up in something that complements and really brings out your skin tone. So if you don't know what colors fit your skin, like for me personally, for my skin tone, like colors like this yellow and dusty pinks work really good for my skin tone. So usually to auditions, I wear that dusty rose, like blush type of color on me because that looks really good on my skin. But if you're still figuring it out and don't really know, there are some colors that literally anyone can pull off, any skin tone at all. And those colors are gonna be maroon, burnt orange, and olive green. When I go to an audition, those are the three main colors that you see because they look good on everyone. They're called universal colors, I believe. So if you're looking for new clothes for auditions, really keep that in mind. What colors are gonna make your skin pop and also are gonna make you stand out. To finish off the eyes, I'm just gonna put a dark brown in the outer corner. I'm taking the smallest amount just to get a little bit of that depth in my outer corner with the eyes, and then I'm gonna put the smallest. When I say the smallest, say it with me, this is for myself. We're gonna put the smallest eyeliner that you can think of just to give your eyes still that shape of lifting it up, but not the dramatic effect. Okay, so next we're gonna go in and color correct really quickly. After you've got your setup all set up, the first thing that you do in a self-tape is gonna be slating. Now what a slate is an introduction of who you are before you start acting, before you cut to whatever piece you're gonna do or whatever side you're gonna do. You need to slate first. If you're slating, if they gave you instructions, then you need to follow it. That as well as the video. I know it seems very simple, but you would be surprised. I directed a film in September of 2019, so just this past year, and you would be surprised. I would ask people simple questions. I filmed a horror movie, so one of the questions was, what's your favorite horror movie and why? And then people would just go on a tangent about all these other things and then have nothing to do with the question that I asked. And it's not a good sign if someone wants to be directing you to know that you can't follow instructions, especially if they're simple, you know? And another important thing is time limits. I know you have so much to say and that you're so great and everything like that, and you are, but if your casting directors ask you for a 2-minute audition at maximum, or just like a little interview that's 5 minutes maximum, then you need to abide by that. Certain casting directors, well, most casting directors will not, they'll look at the timestamp, and if it's over that time, they won't even look at it. They'll throw it out, and that's a genuine thing that happens to people. So you really want to make sure that you're paying attention to the instructions so you at least have a chance of auditioning and if you want it to be seen. Next, I'm just going in with my foundation, and if there are no instructions, they don't ask you to say anything specific in your slate. You should always have a slate for any self-tape that you do, but if there are no instructions of anything they want to know specifically, a basic one that I always do is say your first name, your last name, where you're based out of, and your height. So for example, mine would be, hello, my name is Deandra Bernardo, I'm 5'2", and I'm based out of New York City. And then that would be it. Then I would add a transition and then start my side. And if you're doing monologues that you got to choose yourself, also in the slate, you're gonna say, first I'll be doing your first piece, followed by whatever your second piece is. Just like that. It's really smooth, simple, easy, and professional. And then another really important thing to do while you're slating is, remember, this is the first time that they're seeing you. So you really wanna be yourself, be confident, and I don't know why this thing came about, but I got a few of these self-tapes when I was auditioning where people would slate in their character, and I don't know, that's really strange. When you're slating, you're not acting as anyone. You're literally just introducing who you are. So that's what you need to be doing, not acting like someone else. You can act like someone else when it's time to act, but when it's not, it's just kind of jarring seeing someone putting on for just saying their name. Because this is the only time in the video that other people get to see who you are and at least get a glimpse, simply just by you introducing yourself. So next I'm gonna be adding my concealer, and again, you don't wanna do the Instagram triangle. I usually go crazy on concealer, but you really don't need that much. It's just to cover anything that wasn't fully covered by the foundation. So next I'm gonna be talking about picking a piece. Now this is really important, especially for this specific type of audition. When you're picking a piece, you really need to, like all auditions, be thinking about your type and also think about what you're auditioning for. For instance, if I'm gonna be auditioning for a Disney show, I'm not gonna pick a monologue that has, you know, swear words or anything like that in it, and it's gonna be focused more to children, you know, or teens. It wouldn't be in, you know, an adult angsty, you know, type role that you would pick for that. Another really important thing is you need to make sure whatever piece you choose really resonates with you. It has to touch you in some sort of way, or else it'll be harder for you to connect to it. And that's really what they're looking for in a self-tape, especially if it's just, you can do two just contrasting monologues. They want to see that whatever work you're doing, you can be truthful in your work, and all in all, doing something that you like will make you act better. Let me know if you guys would like to see a video of a helpful way to choose your monologues and how I do my monologues. Next, I'm going to lightly contour the face. For most self-tapes that I've done, I'm usually given sides. And what a side is a piece of the full script that you're going to get, or it's going to be a piece that's similar in the style of what the script is going to be. So usually it's going to be 1 to 3 pages. They're usually very short sides. So my best advice with that is try to memorize as much of it as you can before you start doing the self-tape. Especially if it's only a page, then there's no reason for you to not really memorize it. You shouldn't be looking down every line. And if memorizing is something that's really hard for you, or if you got this in a short time frame, as in it has to be due, you get in the night and it has to be due in the morning, or a situation like that, and it is really hard to memorize because of that time restraint, then the best tip that you should do is memorize the first line and the last line. So those 2 lines you're gonna be looking up and looking out. You start it strong and end it strong. And even though you think that you have it memorized, you should have the paper in your hand. Like this mirror I'm gonna use, for example, is my script. You want to have that just in case you draw a blank and you feel like you're on a roll and you're doing good. You'll have to throw out that entire tape because you won't know, your next line. So you have your paper here. You want to hold it beside your phone or whatever camera that you're using, so the camera doesn't see it, and the placement of it should be more out. So even when I look here, you can still see my face, you can still see me acting, and you shouldn't stick to the paper. You should look at it, get the line, and then deliver it. Be careful that your paper is not like this or this, because now the casting director isn't getting anything if your face is down here. Next, we're gonna go on to blush. I'm using a cream blush because it looks more natural on the skin. So we've talked about sides, monologues, the setup, and slating. But now it's time to actually act. What do you do? A good thing is you want to make sure that your posture is correct, because that will really enhance your vocal quality, especially if you get nervous. And then when you're nervous, that's when everything kind of starts to fall out of place. So make sure you know your lines, you're in the right headspace. You can meditate if you want to before, or do a roll down or shake out the nerves, or whatever works for you. An important thing is really, just as an actor in general, this doesn't apply to just self-taping, but it applies to acting in general. It's a thing of not worrying what you look like. If it's a dramatic scene and you spit or anything like that, or you think that you're making a weird face, but you're really into it, that's usually gonna be truthful and more natural than you having to want to cry and then just kind of, clutching your pearls and doing the classic look down. Like, even though you may think that your face looks better and prettier, acting is really not about being pretty. It's just about being honest. So keep that in mind. You want to be aware of the camera, but not super aware, because at the end of the day, it's not a beauty pageant. Next, I'm going to finish it off with highlighter. Again, you're going to want to go really light with the highlighter. And my last tip is usually the first takes are going to be your best. You don't want to, this goes with my last point, you don't want to just run it and run it and run it and run it, because your body gets tired and then the material actually starts to sound rehearse, like you've planned saying a line with this certain inflection, and you keep doing that, you're gonna lose some of the truth in it because now it's too rehearsed. At the end of the day, acting is supposed to be fun, and then these are just tips, not necessarily rules on how to do it. So if you learn to self-tape a different way and you think that your way is better, that's completely fine, but I'm sure you can take something from this video. That's how I even think in acting styles. Like when I went to college, we studied Meisner acting, but I still get inspiration from when I was in theater companies, when I was doing community theater. You pick up little things everywhere you go. So I see it in that sense, where you can really mix and match your own routine and how you do things. So now I'm just gonna set my face. For the lips, I'm gonna do a nude. What I do to get my nudes is I use a darker brown, a light brown, and then cover it with gloss. And my last tip for you guys today is going to be a very simple tip, and that is going to be where to look when you're auditioning. Looking in the lens directly right now, you're actually going to want to look a little bit beside the lens, right here, or on the other side, right here. This works in sides. If you're talking to two people, you look one way, then look the other. It's really easy when you're doing sides because you'll have a reader. You usually need a buddy unless they send you a monologue of a side to be the reader for you. So usually where they're standing, you can look directly at them, and that's an easy way to do it. Because if you look directly at the lens like I'm doing in an audition setting, it's just like how if you were in an in-person audition, you wouldn't want to go say your monologue and look directly at the casting director because it's kind of jarring. It's as if you're looking at someone like this. You know? Okay guys, this is my completed look. All in all, I hope you take something out of this video, learn something. Let me know what you learned down below or if this helped you at all. Remember, auditioning, like anything else, is a skill. You're gonna get better. Just keep going out there and keep pushing yourself. You'll never get cast if you never audition. So have fun and happy auditioning. If you like this video, please remember to give it a like, a comment, and subscribe. I get to talk to you guys all the time. You can slide into my DMs on Instagram if you have any questions about anything in this video, or if you just want to chat with me. I also post everything that I'm doing during the week there. That's going to be at It's Deandra O_O. Again, that's going to be ITSDEANDRAO_O. I'll see you guys later. Bye.